Start off by introducing myself. My name is George Alquesio Duro Boachiyadom, and I work here at Fathers Uplift, and I'm marketing operations associate. And Ashley.
My name is Ashley Palacios. I am the Director of Therapeutic and Reentry Services here at Fathers Uplift.
Yeah. Welcome to our webinar, Empowering Fathers Through Emotional Management and Pre-Father Care. The goal for this webinar is to inform everybody about managing emotions and pre-father care group, which starts in September. We'll go into more details later. We're going to highlight the course benefits as well as outline the insurance we accept, detailing and rules of the groups, and also provide you some insight on our organization's core values, as well as go into the approach we use during the group, which is our upright approach, where we'll go into more detail later. Fathers Uplift, start off by talking about Fathers Uplift. Fathers Uplift is the country's first mental health paternal mental health outpatient substance use treatment facility for fathers and their families. So our mission is to provide mental health, counseling, coaching, advocacy and resources to assist fathers with overcoming barriers that prevent them from remaining engaged in their children's lives. We're going to start off with the overview of the managing emotions. So the managing emotions is our first group that we do offer. The group is designed to help participants remain in control of their emotions, such as anger, guilt, sadness, hopelessness. The group offers opportunity to recognize physical and emotional response to these emotions by exploring the underlying thoughts and process that leads to these type of emotions. We give them the emotional tools to be able to manage them. Sorry. Some of the emotions that we cover during this group is anger, guilt, sadness, healthy and unhealthy anger, happiness, shame, fear, anger, hope, worthiness, resentment, and also the theory of change. Obviously, we do offer more emotions, but these are the main ones that we offer. Let's see. Hold on.
George, you're muted.
Oh, no, Tori, we do not hear you. This is a webinar, but you do have a chance to ask questions at the end of the webinar. So, yes. I am waiting on Vicente to join, but I'm not sure. Because we're going to have a segment where we're going to go more into depth about what the facilitators, and Vicente is one of the facilitators that will go into detail. We'll go into detail about what we offer more and what the groups will look like. Another group that we offer is the pre-father care group, which is more of a preparation and insight group. It provides practical knowledge, tools, and insight for fathers in any phases of their parenting journey. Includes men on the verge of becoming fathers, as well as people that men that are thinking about becoming. Men are thinking about becoming fathers. And it brings forth a new roadmap and a reference. So these parenting journeys they explore various aspects of fatherhood, self-parenting, past traumas. So this is more of a self-parenting group. This group is like very engaging, it's very interactive, and it supports it's tailored towards anybody's unique needs when it comes to parenting, because there's no one way to parent. And that's what's great about this group is it's a self-parenting group. It prepares fathers for fatherhood and equips them with the necessary resources to navigate this critical life transition. So right now we're going to go into the rules of the groups. And since we have Ashley here, Ashley, can you go ahead and talk about the program structure, the rules of the groups, and what that looks like?
Sure. So the group is a 15-week group. The purpose of this webinar, at least, is to go over our managing emotions and our pre-father care. But I did want to note that we do have additional groups outside of that, including our wellness and recovery group and our homecoming reentry group. For this cohort, we are excited to be bringing it in as a hybrid model. So over the past, I'd say almost 3 years now, 2 years or so, we've been completely virtual. And so this will be the first hybrid cohort where we will be offering it in person at our 12 Southern Ave location, as well as virtually, for depending on what the preferences of the client. The schedule, so we have 2 pre-father care groups. Those are on Mondays. One is at 10 a.m. and one is at 6 p.m. That 10 a.m. one will be completely virtual. However, the 6 p.m. will be offered hybrid, in person or virtual. On Tuesdays is our wellness and recovery group. That is Tuesdays at 5 p.m. to be offered hybrid. Wednesdays, we have our managing emotions at 6 p.m. Also hybrid. And then our homecoming reentry group, which is for any of our clients that have any history of incarceration or criminal justice involvement. That's actually a drop-in group offered hybrid at our 332 Talbot Ave location, and that's Wednesdays at 4 p.m. So the enrollment process for the groups that we are going over today, pre-father care, managing emotions, those all would be required to go through a clinical intake process. So once we have participants that show, or people who are interested in being participants of the group, we would refer them to our intake department, where they would complete a full clinical intake just to gather demographics and go through insurance purposes, anything related to getting them set up to join the group. And that will be allowed this cohort up until the 10th session. We don't want to have too many barriers for people joining the group mid-session. So we're able to have a little bit more flexibility this time around and up until when we can bring in new participants. So again, it's 15 sessions, and up until the 10th session, we will be allowing for open enrollment. If we are in, session 12 or 13 and we have someone that says, I'm interested, they just have to wait until the next cohort. The next cohort will begin early 2024. This cohort will end at the end of 2023. So I believe the last week is in December, mid-December. So there's not much of a wait or a gap between cohorts, but we do want to just make sure that the person is able to get as many sessions as possible if we're going to bring them in mid-cohort. So upon completion of the intake, once we have someone who says, I'm ready to do this, I want to be in these groups, they would get referred to the intake department. They would complete the clinical intake. Upon completion of the intake, they will be added to the group of their choice. They can take as many or as few of the groups that they are interested in. Some of our clients do every single group. Some are like, I just want to do this one. So it is whatever the preference is of the client. And in addition to being enrolled in the groups, they will be assigned a coach. So the purpose of working with a coach, even if you feel like you only want to do groups, is to be able to have a point of contact in the agency outside of the group facilitators. So let's say something comes up, mid-cohort and you're in need of some resources, or you're in need of a letter of participation. We want to make sure that you have someone that you can go to outside of that facilitator. We just ask that you meet with your coach at minimum once a month. If everything is good and you want to just give that check-in, that's great. If you need something, you have someone there to be able to support you. Additionally, the coaches will be able and skilled to give one-on-one makeup sessions. So there are limited makeup sessions, which I'll go over in a little bit, that are allowed. And so if you do miss a session, you need to make up these sessions in order to be able to graduate at the end of the cohort. Having an assigned coach will allow you to be able to work with that person one-on-one. Which brings me to my next point of attendance. So when it comes to attendance and anything, communication is key. So we really just need you all, our potential participants, to let us know what's going on so we know how best to support you. If you need to be out for something that is excused, or if you just need a day to yourself to not go to the group, we just ask that you let us know. The policy will be up to 2 excused absences and 3 unexcused absences. So an excused absences, I communicated to my coach, this is what's going on today. I will not be in the group. I have an appointment, so on and so forth. An unexcused absence will be, we just didn't hear from you. You just didn't show up to group, and we don't know what's going on. After 3 unexcused absences, we will ask that you join the next cohort. You will be discharged from the cohort, again, just because we are looking to have people in the cohort who want to be here and are able to complete, and if not, are able to at least communicate and let us know what's going on. So if we just don't hear from you for 3 sessions, you'll have to start over at the next cohort. Again, if you know that you're going to be out, please just let the group facilitator know, let your coach know, call the front desk, just communicate with us so we know, if we should expect you or not. Now, in order to complete, as I mentioned, there are 15 sessions required. Again, you're able to make up sessions throughout the cohort with your coach. If you join mid-cohort, and we know, I joined in week 8, there are only 7 sessions left, I'm not going to be able to graduate. That is okay. You are allowed to roll over those credits to the next cohort. We just ask that you complete your sessions within 2 cohorts. So I know we have sometimes people do 5 sessions here, and then they want to do 5 sessions there, and then come back the next year. We can't drag it out past 2 cohorts. So, get as many sessions as you can in the first one. If you join late, join us again for the next cohort and you will be able to graduate. Again, it's about communication. So the better that you communicate with us, the best that we can kind of help you and support you in getting through these sessions, getting the resources and tools that you need, and then completing, which is a big accomplishment for us. We have graduations at the end of each cohort and celebrate, because it is considered a big accomplishment for us to be able to support you on your journey. If you feel like you cannot commit to the cohort right now, schedule wise, work wise, anything going on, and you feel like this is something for me, maybe in the future, but not right now, that's okay. We do have a national drop-in group. It is every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Again, it's drop-in style, so you don't have to do a clinical intake. You don't have to attend every week. You attend as you need to, get what you need out of it, and join us again, when you're ready. So for anyone who's like, I'm on the fence, I'm not sure, or maybe you just want to kind of get a feel for our group style first, join us at the National Drop-In Group. And then from there, you can decide, if this is something that you want to join us for. Our groups begin September 11th. So you have plenty of time to join us a couple of weeks in before the groups officially roll out. I think that was all that I was going to go over. I'm looking at the chat box. There will be questions at the end. So I will pass it on back to George.
Thank you. We're going to go into more details about managing emotions. I do have Vicente here, and he'll be able to go over managing emotions, go into a little more detail. He is the master facilitator of these groups, as well as another co-facilitator who's currently not here. And he's also the facilitator for pre-father care as well.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, Ashley, for that introduction, getting into the details of the groups and how they operate. Those details are very important, and they will be re-emphasized throughout the groups that we do. And so I want to introduce you to one of our premier, actually we have two of them that we'll be talking about, and that is managing emotions. And this is what the curriculum looks like. I don't think we can see that. Kind of broken up.
Well,
Okay. Well, anyway, we got the curriculum. And as George was saying, I've been running managing emotions and pre-father care for going on 2.5 years, which includes I guess close to 100 clients in both, and the struggles that they have encountered and how they have been able to overcome a lot of their struggles. Now, I want to start off with a proverb that you probably are familiar with, and this actually is a real proverb from Proverbs chapter 25, verse 28, that is very popular, especially when you're talking about how we manage our emotions. And that proverb is, whoever has no rule over his own spirit is like a city broken down and without walls. And I have seen this type of scenario play out in probate, in courts, in coaching sessions, in real life, and talking to dads on how their emotional states, when it is unregulated, actually opens up the door to a lot of chaos, consequences that are counter to what brought them to Father's Uplift. And all of our dads, and we do have some moms, come to Father's Uplift because they have a dream of becoming more engaged with their children. And along with those dreams, they also have obstacles, and that's where coaching comes in. That's where clinical comes in. And also that's where groups come in. So those are like, the three major pieces of the Father's Uplift model. Now with managing emotions, we're talking about managing and understanding an array of emotions that we have. Now, many of our clients have come to us from other programs that they have taken, programs similar to what we offer. They're called anger management. And these programs are very popular. We do not offer anger management because anger is just one of a whole array of emotions. And sometimes people ask me, how many emotions have been documented in humans? And there is a psychologist by the name of Robert Plotchick, who actually numbered them. And he came up with the fact that humans experience up to 35,000 individual independent emotions, not all at the same time, obviously. Now, those are broken down into major emotions. And so let me just go through a few of them with you. And you'll be able to relate to them because these are human emotions, and this is how we operate on a daily basis, many times unconsciously. But when we do it consciously, we actually get the benefits of reaching our outcomes. And so here are some of the emotions that we do cover. And as Ashley was saying, these are 15 lessons, 15 sessions. And so we have happiness, health and unhealthy anger. We have hope. We have worthiness, on how we are worthy of love, as well as anger, guilt, sadness, shame, fear. Fear is a big one. Resentment. And all of these fall into what is called the theory of change. And so when a dad comes to Father's Uplift and starts his journey, his dad journey, and he participates in managing emotions, the content is one thing. As I just read off some of the emotions that we deal with. But what is more important, and this is the benefit that I've been hearing from dads, is the community that's created in these groups. For many of them, it's the first time that they have been able to be in a room with other dads, going through what they go through, a level of understanding. But the most important part of our groups is they walk away with the thought, the feeling, and also the confirmation that as a dad, I'm not alone. because many times we operate by ourselves. My personal story, I have 3 children, and I have struggled because I didn't have any support. Well, the support that I had was some of my boys, and you know how that goes. Not the type of support that will lend itself for a person to become a more caring, intentional, loving dad. And so these are the things that come as a result of these groups. So not only do you have the content, and the curriculums are really nice, but you also have a community of dads. And then from that community, we also have other avenues. And so, there's also the clinical. There's also, as Ashley was mentioning, other groups that we have, with our recovery wellness group. So there is a series of services that are provided and are specifically tailored for dads. And as you probably already know, I don't know, I came in late because I had a client that I was working with. We are the only paternal mental health agency in the country. And it shows because our clients, I have a client from Baltimore. At a drop-in group, we have dads from Arizona, from Michigan, from Florida, and of course, the Boston area. So this managing emotions curriculum is unlike any that you have experienced because we deal with the reality of what dads are going through. And it's my pleasure to be able to co-facilitate this with some of our co-facilitators, but it is a marvelous journey that a dad can go on. But it has to start here at Father's Uplift for you to reap the benefits, and it's for the long term.
All right. Thank you, Vicente, for sharing that. And as we transition to pre-father care, as I mentioned earlier, this group is for preparation and insight. Vicente is also one of the people that also facilitate this group, and he could share his insight before we transition to how we prepare ourselves for groups as facilitators.
Powerful stuff. Yeah, pre-father care. I love that curriculum, and it's on display somewhere. I'm not going to try and show it like I did earlier because it comes broken up. Being a father is a challenge. And it's a challenge that starts in day one, even before the child is born, and continues on. As I mentioned to you, I have 3 adult children. And one thing that I can definitely say, even though we talk about clients, but as a co-facilitator of these groups, I have become a better dad because I've become more intentional in terms of how I interact with my adult children. And those of you who have adult children know that the needs change developmentally. They infants, toddlers, youth, older youth, adults. And so each of those stages that we go through requires for us to be able to have a level of consciousness in a term that we use here at Father's Uplift, but that actually I would say is critical for a person to become a better parent. And that is how we parent ourselves. So we're talking about self-leadership. And this curriculum, Pre-Father Care, talks about how we can show up, how can we be present in our children's lives, and that it's okay not to know everything, because we don't know everything. This is why we have a community. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And so you get a bunch of dads together. To give an example, we have one dad that comes to mind in this last cohort that we had, who is going to be a father, I believe, in a few months. And so pre-father care was perfect for him. We also have a dad that has participated in it, who has 13 children. And pre-father care is perfect for him as well. And so the sessions that we go through, they're tailored to not just the challenges of fatherhood, which is why it's called pre-father care. We also focus on the celebrations that happen. We also focus on the grieving process. One of our dads, actually this past week was talking about on how he's grieving over the loss of his 4-year-old daughter. And the community on screen, the community in the room, we gathered around him, to support him, to let him know that he's loved and that he's not alone. And what happened to him, by the way, this is the client, the participant who is going to become a client, and was sharing with us that without the grieving process of a room of dads, it would have been a long, lonely, and really depressing journey for him. This is from his own words. And so I would say that he got motivated, even though he's out of state, and we tried to identify resources and sent him some resources. He found a group called Grieving for Dads, which is just perfect for him. And now he's connected with our group, and he's talking about how important the grieving process is for dads, because, some of our dads, we celebrate birth, but unfortunately, we also need to observe what happens at the end, that some of our children die, but that does not stop us from being dads. And so whether the birth of a child, like I mentioned, this young man who's going to be celebrating the entrance of a son into the world, over to the other extreme where we have one who is suffering and grieving. And by the way, we also grieve along with him over the loss of a child. And so pre-father care allows us to look at how we operate as fathers, whereas the managing emotion ones deals with our internal. Pre-father care is how our external world looks like in us taking care of the children that we have been entrusted with. And so these sessions are very important. And we also emphasize the fact that at the end of each session is actually the beginning of that same session being practiced in life. And so this isn't a curriculum, or our curriculums are not the type that you just take a session and put it away until next week. We want our curriculums, which has journal opportunities in them, to be something that our dads will use to keep the sessions fresh, and also bring questions, as well as some triumphs that they have experienced from week to week. So I hope to see some of you at our pre-father care session starting the week of September 11th.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much. We're going to transition to our insight. So what makes Father's Uplift so unique is our upright approach. And we're going to go further into detail about upright approach. It's an acronym that we use. It means U is for understanding the material. P is for preparing examples for real life.
Mm-hmm.
R is for rehearsal. I is for identifying potential challenges. G is for finding the right space. H is for honor the importance of our role. And T is we take care of ourselves. So we're going to start with you. So Vicente, how important is it to understand the material as a facilitator?
Well, let me put it to you this way. By my own calculations, in going on close to 3 years, I've gone through these cycles of facilitating these groups, I would say a minimum of 6 times each. Now, you would think that I'm a master of this material, but no, I'm not a master of this material. I'm trying to be a master of Vicente, not the material. And so the preparation is something that's important to me, because I don't want to depend on what happened in the last session. I want every session to be fresh. So this is why the U in upright is important, because I need to understand the materials and I need to just go deeper into it. And as I do that, I bring up some of my lived experiences that I have forgotten about, and I can also bring out the lived experience of dads by me just understanding the material. So that is the U.
Yes, definitely. Our facilitators, their goal is to they try to maintain focus of what the emotion or whatever the topic of, and get the key message throughout. And we're also very clear of our objectives. And we also think about previous, like what is our participants going to gain from this session? That's very important for us to that's why we understand the material. And also timing, making sure we're able to deliver the material in an effective manner, also by still giving space for our clients to let out the emotions, because this might be the only time they have that opportunity to do that.
Let me talk a little bit about space, because one of the things that comes to mind when we're talking about space is that the facilitator needs to be present. Yeah, just like a facilitator needs to be present as a dad in the children's lives, I need to be present, active, right there with my participants, because they are in the present moment, and I'm also modeling for them how we can engage with our children more.
Yes, and now Pete, so we prepare examples from real life. So you want to go ahead and share?
Oh my God, yes. What I really get a kick out of is looking at myself today, and how my life is going, how my relationships are going with my children, that they're well, but it wasn't always that case. And so I bring up my challenges with my own father. And if you want to hear that story, it's actually on a podcast on Spotify. I'm not going to go into it here because it re-traumatizes me. My childhood trauma has also come up. Unfortunately, I take care of my childhood trauma through therapy. I believe in therapy. And so as a result of that, my mental status is a lot healthier. But bringing up the real life stories breaks down that wall, between a person who is a facilitator and has this role. I do everything perfect. I do everything right. I'm the expert here. Our facilitation style is not, I'm not an expert. I'm actually just a staff person who is learning about these things along with the dads. And so when I bring up my real life example, they know that I'm talking about something that I have struggled with. And sometimes the struggle has taken years to overcome, but I have come over on the other side, and not by myself. And so that real life example is something that is vibrant and robust here at Father's Uplift, because it connects us to ourselves and also to the dads that we're working with.
Yes, definitely. The goal for the facilitator is to draw upon their experiences, so they could kind of really connect with the participants. But however, we use intentionality.
Yes.
So that's why we like to prepare, because we think about experiences that resonate. Like if it's a personal tale, we just don't tell tales endlessly.
Mhm.
It has to be intentional to share the story that resonates with that topic specifically. And if we don't have those, we don't make it up. That's why you have co-facilitators.
Right.
Some people have been through that experience. If you don't have that, that's when we try other ways to get our point across.
Mhm. And that brings us to the R in Upright on rehearse. So we don't fly by the seat of our pants. I don't go into a session saying, okay, I've taught this session on taking care of our children X number of times before, so I don't need to prepare. No, I do need to prepare because I need to be fresh. And if I go by what I've taught in the past, then I am not fresh. I'm not up to date. I'm not relevant. At least I don't feel that way. Yeah, I can go through a group, but it's not about going through the group. It's about having the group material go through our dads. And in order to do that, I do rehearse. I go through the sessions. I prepare with my co-facilitator, so that every session that we do, even though we've done it in the past, every session is fresh. Like it's the first time that we're doing it. Our eyes open up at the possibilities. And at the end, we're much better because we're a little bit stronger as dads.
Yes, and 5-star service is definitely one of the most important things that we try to thrive to do. And in order to do that, we have to consistently act like this is new, and we have to always rehearse. And I is for identifying potential challenges. And as facilitators and facilitating groups, you have to stay vigilant of potential hiccups. You might have a person in there that's a dominant participant that likes to talk, or the topic might be very intense and where it could stir up intense reactions, or somebody might trigger somebody. So our goal is to maintain a balanced and conducive environment. So this is so we always sit down and we identify what are some potential challenges that might come across. And if I don't have the answer, to either divert the person, or like, who can I talk to in order for me to prepare myself. So I have these tools as a facilitator to make sure the groups go smoothly.
And the challenges are many. I mean, even in the best of case, parenting does everything, that they've learned to do, and all of that. It's still challenging. And in the room that we have, when you feel safe and when you feel a part of community, the challenges will come up, and it does not lie on one person to come up with the answers, because it's more important to have the questions as opposed to the answers. And one of the things that we have here at Fathers Uplift, we have an amazing amount of resources, and let me give you an example. Met with, one of our dads, and he was having a problem with OSHA, which is, the work-related occupational thing, and it had to do with a certification. Now, I don't know anything about that. Sat down with him yesterday, and we were able to go online, and he is signing up for a training online so that he can get his OSHA certification, and that will open up the door for better income opportunities. So the challenges that come up do not have to be addressed by a facilitator, not when you have a group of loving dads.
And the next one is given the right space, G. So here we have a very welcoming space physically and emotionally, and we always have food. And I feel like food is like the generational, or like, what do you call it? Like everybody talks food.
Yeah.
Everybody talks food. Everybody loves food. Everybody loves food. And food sets off the right tone. And understanding that many of our fathers usually are either coming from work, or they're just coming with, that maybe that's their dinner time, but they know they have to do this. Some are mandatory, some are just coming just cause. So we want to make it feel like this is like their second home. So setting the right space, making them feel like they walking into their second home. They don't feel like this is actually their occupation, or they're forced to do it. I think that's what sets ourselves and giving them the right space, either virtually or in person.
And it's a space that's free from racism. It's free from discrimination. It's free from microaggressions. It's free from implicit biases. It's a space that each dad can bring who they are into the space. And then as facilitators, one of the things that we do, not just in groups, but also in my one-on-ones, is that we learn how to hold the space for the dad. And so, like I mentioned previously about the dad who was grieving, and when he was sharing in the room, he was crying. The room was quiet. And as I looked around at other dads, some were crying, some eyes were wet, because we are touched by each other, by each other's experiences when we have that right space. Now, obviously I'm talking about internally. Now, externally, our spaces here at Fathers Uplift, where we do our clinical work, whether it's on Southern Ave or Talbot Ave, you walk in and we reaffirm the dignity of the person that's walking in. We reaffirm their dignity as dads. And that can only happen when you have the right space. So it's not just internal, but it's also external.
Yeah, and H, we honor the importance of our role. So our role as hope dealers, we exude hope and healing, and we guide our participants to stay positive in their fatherhood journey. And it's a very important role because it demands a lot of strength, faith, and a belief in transformation. So believe in transformation from the facilitator, and a belief in transformation from each person in the group and wherever they're starting their journey from.
That is so true. And so I would say something like, I do honor you. I do appreciate you. Reaffirmations on the self-worth of the dad. And this is one thing that we believe in Fathers Uplift, that every dad has self-worth. They might not know it because they've been beaten down by different institutions. But when it comes to Fathers Uplift, that honor that we provide them with is an honor that raises them up slowly. Now, our dads, it's kind of interesting. Here's a little phrase that you probably are familiar with or not familiar with, but I say that our dads are from Missouri. And I don't know if you know what that means, but Missouri, like Boston, Massachusetts is the Bay State, Florida is the Sunshine State, New York is the Empire State, Missouri is the Show Me State. And so, yeah, our dads have been talked to, yelled at, lied to, sometimes even compassionately open up doors so that they can move ahead in their lives. But when they come to Father's Uplift, we do take care that they are the ones that we are honoring. They are our dads. And without our dads being involved with Father's Uplift, what will become of Father's Uplift? So yes, we're all about dads. And we do honor the dad journey because we know from personal experiences how difficult it is and how it is a lifelong endeavor being a dad. And there's a lot of honor in being a dad.
And the next one is the most important one.
Yes.
Here at Fathers Up,
Love it.
we believe in self-care, and we feel like if you can't take care of yourself within, how can you help somebody on the outside? So the last one's T is take care of ourselves, which is we prioritize our well-being physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and we make sure we're in the best shape to facilitate effectively.
So true. We did a podcast about a year ago called the 8 Dimensions of Wellness. And those 8 dimensions actually are available. And so if anybody wants a copy of it, we can provide a copy of it. But I tell dads that when we prioritize ourselves, when we put ourselves in first place, that is not selfish. That actually is the highest level of self-care. Because as I take care of myself, I'm able to take care of those around me, particularly my children, my family, extended family, neighbors, community people, because I become a different person. I focus on my needs. Now, self-care isn't like something that's mental. So it's not like, yeah, I'm going to do self-care and, no, it's actually an intentional plan that provides you with the opportunities to look at how you're taking care of yourself in all these areas that George mentioned, and then some additional ones. But when we take care of ourselves, we take care of everyone else that's involved in our life.
Okay, so we're gonna transition over to billing insurances that we accept. I am gonna be sending a PowerPoint to everybody that joined after this. And if you want the PowerPoint, feel free to email me at marketing@fathersuplift.org, and I'll be able to share the PowerPoint with all the list of insurances that we accept. Here, a few of them are Cigna, Blue Cross Blue Shield. We accept Mass Health. We do not accept Mass Health Limited or partial. We accept Optimal Behavior Health, Tufts Public Plan, as well as Carelon Behavioral Health. These are all insurances that we accept that I will send to everyone that joined, and whoever wants that information, I can send it to you. So the process you go through when you're trying to, hey, how do I register to be part of this awesome group? Like, I really want to join. I'm so interested. So what you do is you go on our website and you fill out an inquiry. Or we also have flyers that are on our social media that you can just scan the QR code and you'll be able to fill it out and designate which group you want to participate in. What we do is we verify your insurance, we make sure it's active, and we make sure we accept your insurance, make sure if you have a copay or anything, we make sure we let you know so you don't have any random bills come and anything like that. We're very transparent when it comes to that. If your insurance is inactive, one thing that here at Follows Up with is we could get you insurance. We can assist you in getting insurance. We will outreach to you and be like, hey, your insurance is not active. We could sign you up for insurance with a CAC appointment. So if that's what you're thinking, like, hey, I don't know if my insurance is accepted, just apply And if it's not, we'll work with you on getting your insurance or whatever we need to do to make sure you're in the right position to succeed. The process, if you do have a copay, is you do pay your copay before you start the group each session. And you go through an intake process. An intake process doesn't take long, but it is 2 parts and is very detailed. You do have to share some information. You can go more into detail with that once you do the first step of getting yourself referred into the program. And for people that want to refer people to the program, the same process. If you go on our website or on any of our social media, you see the QR code and you'll be able to refer whoever you need to refer to these groups and any other groups we offer. And we're gonna go into insights on our 5 core values. So this is very important to us because Dr. Daniels and Samantha Daniels really installed this in us, and this is really important. Our 5 core values are: it takes a village, love, care for self, embracing mistakes, and authoring your own story. So we're gonna break that down. So when you say it takes a village, Vicente, what do you?
Now here's that. Yeah, I love. First off, let me just say that I've been working in this field for a long time with different organizations, and I have never come across something like this. Core values that starts off with "it takes a village." Now think about this. We have heard the phrase "it takes a village to raise a child," right? Now I have reversed that, because at the center of our village is a child. So it takes a child to raise the village. The child is the one that raises the adults, the parents, the therapists, the coaches, to make sure that they can be able to thrive. And so we do have a village approach, as I mentioned earlier, a community approach. We are close to each other. We love on each other. We appreciate each other, and we model these type of emotions as men. And so it's okay for us to love on each other. It's okay for us to appreciate each other, because that makes us stronger. So it does take a village. There is no lone wolves. It's not a solitary journey. It's actually a journey full of people that are just like you. It takes a village.
And the second one is love. And how we express love through gratitude, encouragement, affirmations is what makes the difference. Genuine love, because the dads walk in here, they already feel there's a stigma around mental health,
right?
So they already have this feeling, but how you welcome them, how you make them feel, they instantly know this person genuinely wants to see me get better, and that's the love they feel. And some of them have never even heard the word "I love you" before,
right.
And that's one of our core values, is to express love. And we express it very well through what we do, our gratitude, how we encourage them, and we always make sure we affirm them as well.
So in the village cannot operate without love. And so first you have the village, you got the group of people. Then we have love. And I can say a whole lot about it, but I want to ask you this. Some of you have been involved with institutions for a long time. And I want to ask you, how many of those institutions have said that they love you? Here at Fathers Uplift, we do say, "I love you." And I'm going to say that to you right now. I don't know who you are. Some of you I might know, but dad that's watching this, I will tell you that on behalf of Fathers Uplift, we can say that we absolutely love you, because we understand your journey.
And we transition to care for self. The emphasis on self-care and validating difficult emotions.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
Care for self is so important, because like we talked about, without care for self, you can't help anyone else that's around. So our primary focus when you first enter the place is, what is your temperature? How are you feeling today?
So think about the theme. So we got the village. From the village, love rises up. And what happens to that love? That love is how I take care of myself so I can take care of others. And as I said previously, putting ourselves in first place is self-care. It is not selfish. When we care for ourselves, our world turns into a different place where we actually see the possibilities of caring for others in a genuine way.
And embracing mistakes, learning from our setbacks, and the importance of resiliency. Like, we all have scars, but what do scars do? They heal over time.
Mhm.
And we embrace those scars. We don't hide it. And that's what makes us resilient.
There is so much involved in embracing our mistakes, because many times what happens, our mistakes in the past, speaking for myself and some of our dads, have had hard consequences, if you know what I'm talking about. And so we allow our dads to make mistakes in their journey because they're not alone. And that's the key thing, that this is not a solitary journey. And so when our dads make a mistake, they fall down, they stumble, they know that they're not alone, and that there will be a hand there to help raise them up.
And the last, but also one of the most important, is authoring your story. So Dr. Charles always says, you're the author of your own story and you write your own ending. And empowerment on one shaping one's narrative and creating a social impact. So anchoring your own story, empowering yourself, and embracing your own story helps you heal from whoever you was and wherever you're going. And
now I'm going to do something here. I don't know how it's going to come out. I'm actually going to channel Dr. Charles. And so this is how Dr. Charles challenges us when we're together as groups. And I've heard him a few times. And so he would say like this: who's the author of your story? And the dads in the room would say,
I am.
I am. And then he said again, who's the author of your story?
I am.
Yeah, now imagine, George has a deep voice. Imagine 10 or 15 of George's just responding back, call and response. Who's the author of your story? I am. Because in all reality, I am the author of my story. And so we start off with the village. That village creates love. That love is reflected in us as we self-care for ourselves. And then we allow ourselves to embrace mistakes. And we continually author our own story, because if we don't author our own stories, someone else will, and we might not like what their story is all about. So we have that power to author our own stories through these 5 core values.
Thank you for sharing that, Vicente. And we're in our Q&A section. So we open the floor for any questions to our panels, and anybody that had any questions, you could type it in the chat and we'll answer them.
Rock and roll, folks.
Or if anybody needs to speak on something, we can bring them on and they can speak as well. So
Don't be shy. Well, while we're waiting, I just want to say that I'm excited about the new cohort that will be starting on the week of September 11th. It's always gratifying to see. So, it's incredibly exciting to see a group of new dads. New coming to Father's Uplift, taking managing emotions or pre-father care or recovering and wellness, and just see them grow. By the end of the 15th session, their growth is just so incredible that we can actually look at the benchmarks that they have been able to overcome in becoming more dads, and not allowing obstacles to stop them. They might slow down, but it does not stop them. they put that into their hearts and they use it as fuel and they continue the dad journey. So like the new brothers that we're going to have in our groups is an exciting time for us here at Fathers Uplift.
Yes, we have a lot of dads that come in the program that go through managing emotions and pre-father care, and they get motivations to start their own nonprofits and to help other dads do other things. So it's not it's just it all starts with our core values, our core strength, and we take that and we instill that as emotional tools for these guys to be able to pass it on to others, because they're working on themselves. Everything is self. And then we move on to the outside world. Yes. And we had one of our clients from years ago. His name is Jeremy, and he actually, I asked him like, hey, what did you receive? What did you get out of managing emotions? And he said, before Fathers Uplift, I felt overwhelmed by emotions surrounding my new role as a dad. And he said the pre-father care program didn't just prepare me for fatherhood, it transformed me, my entire perspective. And now I approach each day with confidence, knowing I'm not alone on this journey.
Powerful.
And that's what most dads get from these programs, is they know they're not alone. They're not the only one going through what they're going through. And that's very important when you feel like you're on an island. But then you look around, there's dads around you on the same island with you.
Yeah, you know, George, listening to you, there's an African proverb actually that goes like this. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with others. And that's what we want for our dads. We don't just want you to go fast by yourself. We want you to go far as you want to go, but not by yourself, with others.
And another client, former client of ours, his name is Javon. He also sent me a message. He said, I realized that the weight of my unmanaged emotions, I didn't realize the weight of my unmanaged emotions until I joined Fathers Uplift. He said the approach is compassionate and transformative. And he said that he felt he left with the equipment to equip and empowerment to be the best dad for his kids. And Javon, actually, I just saw him last week and he's doing very well. And he's actually one of our first clients ever. And he's always doing very well. And the fact that he said that he didn't realize how many emotions that he had to deal with till he came here is powerful, because not only him didn't realize that, us as facilitators went through that journey with him.
Right.
And we discovered other emotions that we needed to deal with as well. So,
I like his phrasing, because I haven't heard that, the weight of my unmanaged emotions. Unmanaged emotions does weigh on us. It's heavy. It's also dark, and it doesn't allow for much light because they're unmanaged, and we don't know what to do with them. They come in clusters, and they just increase our anxiety and also any type of depression. So being able to recognize that, like Brother Javon did, is a powerful testimony of how our groups operate.
oh, so we have. So, trying to see if we have any questions. Yes. Also, we have Spencer Harris. We have Harris Spencer. He stated that in the past, due to male re-evolution of how we build, approach, and express support for one another. And we also have Annette. She said, hey, good to hear from us. And she's always impressed and inspired by our mission and the heart of Fathers Uplift. And one thing that we always talk about our mission is like we talk about our core values,
Right.
as well as our approach when we come to facilitating, which is very unique. But it all starts with our founders,
Right.
and their vision and how they put this structure together, and they make it so easy to believe in the mission and push this forward.
I think about how how Fathers Uplift started by identifying Dr. Charles and his wife Samantha Phil Daniels, being able to identify a major gap in society, and that gap is on how fathers are not being served well, uniquely, in a place that they can call their own, and that they can experience the thrill, the consistent thrill of being a father with the type of support that a father needs. And so Dr. Charles and Samantha, I can only imagine how it unfolded. What was it, 12 years ago? We're a fairly young organization, but that gap that Dr. Charles and Samantha identified is still existing today. When you're looking at Fathers Uplift being the only mental health organization for paternal health and children's health in the country, that gap is still there. And so I want to appreciate the work that you've done and where we are today, because it would not have happened without those seeds being planted 12 years ago.
Yes. And for closing remarks, we would like to acknowledge everybody here at Fathers Uplift, as well as our CEO and CEOs, Dr. Charles Daniels and Samantha Phils Daniels, for helping us put this together. I'd like to acknowledge our great facilitators, senior therapeutic coach, our grandmaster facilitator, everything, Vicente Sanabria. Where are you from?
I'm from the island of Borinquen in the Caribbean via Brooklyn.
Yes. And I would like to acknowledge myself.
Yes.
Self-love, and I would like to acknowledge Tatiana, our billing manager, for giving us the information for the billing, as well as to acknowledge Ashley, our director of reentry and services. Thank you so much. And how do you register for these upcoming groups? Like I said, if you go on our social media, anywhere, LinkedIn, Facebook, we do have flyers going up, and all you have to do is scan the QR code and to refer anybody, as well as you can go on our website as well, and you'll be able to refer anybody to our groups as well. And when you refer them, they go through the process, and as they wait, they can also join our national drop-in group, which you don't have to be a client to join as well, which the drop-in groups QR code is also on our social media as well.
Let me darte un mensaje en español, porque si hay algunas personas allá afuera que desean participar en los grupos aquí de Fathers Uplift, aunque nosotros no lo estamos ofreciendo en español, pero si tenemos suficientemente participación o personas que están interesados, lo puede lograr. And so let me just translate that we don't offer our groups in Spanish. However, if there is enough participants that speak Spanish and would like a group, we can definitely talk about that in the future, not for this cohort. But if you're a Spanish speaker and are bilingual, then just let us know that you're interested in receiving services in Spanish. We do have Spanish speakers here. Yo soy bilingüe. And we'd love to just continue to innovate and offer these services to populations that are not having it. And so Spanish speakers, Cape Verdean speakers, Brazilian Portuguese speakers, come on in and we can figure this out to service the needs of dads in all languages.
And lastly, I will be sharing the PDF, the presentation of this webinar via email. So if you want this, please email me at marketing@fathersuplift.org, and I will send you the PDF. And also this video will be available on our Fathers Uplift YouTube.
All right. Can't wait to see you in the new cohort, September 11th.
All right. Thank you guys. You guys have a blessed day.
Thank you, George.